Greetings and welcome to my channel, View from My Desktop. We here at View from My Desktop like to show affordable hi-fi equipment that looks nice, sounds nice, and is at a nice price. Today we're going to do a review of an amplifier. It's a little bit different than most of the amplifiers we've reviewed in the past. It's from Douk Audio. It's the A5. So let's get started. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out, helps us to grow the channel, and it's free of charge. And we do appreciate your support. Okay, here we have the A5 amplifier. So let's start off with how this amplifier looks. As you can see on this amplifier, it has the transparent glass top here. You can't really see the color in there because of the lights. So we're going to try to tone these lights down so you can get a little look. We had problems with it before with the camera focusing. Hopefully we won't have that problem again. I hope not. Okay, hopefully you can see the light coming from the amplifier. There's also lights coming from the preamp here, okay? Okay, so this is mostly about the amplifier here. Now that we've done that, we're going to turn this off, disconnect this. All right, now let's talk about this amplifier. As I said before, it has a transparent glass here. I wanted to turn it off so I can be advised not messing with this here with the unit turned on. You can see inside here it has a few op amps over here. That these are you can change out these op amps, and my hands are kind of fat and bulky. Right there, you see, really not on, okay, right there, these switches here. Let me see how close I can get to this. Yeah. Let's make sure it gets focused. Okay. See the R for red, G for green, and B for blue. Those are for look, the writing's on it, but turn shows that what is on and what is off. So that can be that can be used to adjust the color on the inside of here, and that's just for show. When I first connected this amplifier, I didn't notice much difference in the sound. But what I had connected didn't have much bass presence. And so I had to get familiar with this whole high pass filter phenomenon. So I connected a track that had a little more bass. I connected a subwoofer. And I played a couple tracks with a strong bass line. And I found this sound to be very enjoyable coming from my main speakers when I turned on the high pass filter. And there was some adjusting here on and off, so you can turn it off. There was some adjusting it to my particular liking. This is not an amplifier which is a simple plug and play. You're going to want to tune it to your particular liking. Okay, you definitely want to tune it to your particular liking. So once you connect it, and it doesn't really work for me without a subwoofer. I assume that's how it's designed. So it takes the lower end away from your mains, and so you can send it through a subwoofer. I did the same thing by simply turning down the bass on some other amplifier to have tone control. But it was like I was losing something. Here, it didn't really seem like I was losing something. It just was coming from someplace else. So the high pass filter for my ears, and I hope it wasn't just my hearing what I want to hear, but from what I was hearing, the sound was more there when it was going through the high pass filter, as opposed to simply turning down the bass on my tone control and then compensating with a subwoofer, which is what I normally do. This was able to do that, and I didn't feel like I was losing something. On the back, you can see here the one RCA in, the auxiliary out for the subwoofer, binding posts. They spread out, but they kind of small. And on here, I had it connected to a 48 volt power brick. Just a moment ago, when I was showing the color, it's connected to a 24 volt power brick. For the particular review, I had this connected, as you've seen, the Douk Audio P1 preamp. I ran it through a Lampu DVD and a Relic S10 streamer. And the speakers that I listened to it on was some vintage JBL small floor standing speakers, ELAC debut B6.2 speakers, and a model price subwoofer, 12-inch subwoofer. And the sound was very good. This amplifier provides something that, from my feeling, I liked what it did with the ELACs. With the JBL, the vintage JBLs, I didn't feel as though I got as much out of it, because it didn't really serve that purpose. With the ELACs being like a bass heavy speaker, sending it out and just getting what was there in the lower mid range was more to my liking than what I got by taking the lower end out of their three-way JBL, because the JBLs are three-way speakers. They have a tweeter, a mid-range, and a woofer. So it didn't seem like it did as good as, it didn't have as much of an enjoyable effect with the JBL as it did with the ELACs. So I think this is kind of like a amplifier for a two-way speaker system as opposed to a three-way. Now that was just the one test I did. I didn't do it with, I have other three-way speakers and I didn't go through it with them. So this was just that one small sample. And that was my conclusion with that. Someone had asked me about what I thought about the A5 compared to the A100s. I can't really say that I noticed, because I did connect both of them to the same setup. And I can't say there was much difference between the A100 and the A5 as far as pure sound. But I think you can get a different experience out of the speakers. And I do think maybe the A100 is a little fuller sound. It was created a fuller sound, and the A5 is, I think, a little better on your main speakers. Just remember to adjust your subwoofer to pick up the crossover. Like I may choose the A5 for speakers with smaller woofers. I think it would sound better with speakers with a smaller woofer, and the A1 gives you more bass tone control as an amplifier and more setup options than the A5 did. So I'm not going to say one is over the other. I think they sort of serve a different purpose. Okay, the A5 serves a different purpose than the A100. So like I said, if I had a speaker with smaller woofers, 5-inch, 4-inch, I think the A1 is better if I have a subwoofer. I think the A5 is better if I have a subwoofer. And if I have something with larger, maybe 5 and up, I would probably go with the A1. And especially if I did not have a subwoofer. Okay, so that's my take on those two. All right, I'm gonna have a list of the things I use for the review, the other piece I use in the review, in the description. And but it's definitely a plus, a positive review for the A5. I think positive review for the A5. And like I said, I use it on the debut B6.2, and I think it was better suited for that than the three-way JBLs. All right, okay. So that's going to be it for this review. Hope it's not too long. I'm going to have to cut it down a little bit. But anyway, please remember to always listen to good things. Hope you enjoyed the review. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.